It was a quiet morning on September 11th, 2001. The sky above New York City was a perfect blue, the kind of morning that felt ordinary, predictable, safe. Office workers rushed through subway stations, street vendors prepared their carts. Tourists lined up for photos in Lower Manhattan. High above the city streets stood the twin towers of the World Trade Center, two giants of steel and glass. For decades, they had symbolized American ambition, economic dominance, and modern engineering. At 8:46 a.m., that sense of normalcy shattered. A commercial airliner, American Airlines Flight 11, tore into the North Tower between the 93rd and 99th floors. Fire erupted instantly, thick black smoke poured into the sky. For a few moments, confusion dominated the streets below. Some believed it was a terrible accident, perhaps pilot error, perhaps mechanical failure. But then, 17 minutes later, at 9:03 a.m., the unimaginable happened. Another plane, United Airlines Flight 175, slammed into the South Tower. This time, the impact was live on television. Millions watched in disbelief as flames exploded from the building. In that moment, the world understood. This was no accident. America was under attack. Panic spread through Manhattan. Sirens screamed in every direction. Firefighters, police officers, and emergency responders rushed toward the burning towers, climbing stairwells while thousands attempted to descend. Inside the buildings, people made impossible choices. Some searched for exits through smoke-filled corridors. Others called loved ones, leaving final messages that would be replayed for years to come. Meanwhile, the nation's airspace remained active. At 9:37 a.m., a third hijacked plane crashed into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. The headquarters of the United States military was struck. Smoke rose above the Capitol, fear deepened. No one knew how many planes were still in the air. Then came United Flight 93. Passengers on board learned through phone calls that other planes had been used as weapons. Realizing their aircraft was part of the same plot, they made a collective decision. They would fight back. At 10:03 a.m., after a struggle in the cabin, Flight 93 crashed into a field in Pennsylvania. It never reached its intended target. Their resistance likely prevented another devastating strike. Back in New York, the situation worsened rapidly. At 9:59 a.m., less than an hour after it had been hit, the South Tower collapsed. A thunderous roar echoed across the city as the structure imploded, sending a massive cloud of dust and debris through Lower Manhattan. Streets disappeared in gray darkness. 29 minutes later, at 10:28 a.m., the North Tower fell. The skyline of New York City, once defined by the Twin Towers, was forever changed. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives that morning. Thousands more were injured. Families across the country and around the world received news that would divide their lives into before and after. Airports across the United States shut down. For the first time in history, all civilian flights were grounded nationwide. Military jets patrolled American skies. Global markets trembled. In the days that followed, grief turned into determination. President George W. Bush addressed the nation, declaring that those responsible would be brought to justice. The United States soon launched what would become known as the War on Terror. Military operations began in Afghanistan within weeks, targeting al-Qaeda, the extremist group behind the attacks. Security in America changed overnight. Airport screenings became stricter. The Department of Homeland Security was created. Surveillance programs expanded. Intelligence agencies were reorganized. The balance between freedom and security became a topic of intense national debate. International politics shifted as well. Allies joined the United States in military operations overseas. New conflicts emerged. 2 decades of war followed. Wars that would cost trillions of dollars and reshape entire regions of the world. Yet beyond politics and policy, the human stories endured. Firefighters who ran into collapsing buildings. Office workers who guided strangers down endless staircases. Passengers who chose courage over fear aboard Flight 93. Their actions became symbols of resilience. Over time, the physical scars of that day began to heal. In New York City, a memorial now stands where the towers once rose. 2 massive reflecting pools mark the footprints of the buildings. The names of every victim are engraved in bronze, a permanent reminder of the lives lost. A new tower, One World Trade Center, rises into the skyline, taller than the originals. It stands not only as a structure of steel and glass, but as a statement of endurance. September 11th was more than a single tragic event. It marked the beginning of a new era, one defined by global counterterrorism, changing alliances, evolving security measures, and ongoing debates about liberty and safety. For those who lived through it, the memory remains vivid. The clear blue sky, the sudden shock, the silence that followed the collapse. The world held its breath that morning, and when it exhaled, history had changed. The skyline was rebuilt, the nation moved forward. But the lessons about vulnerability, unity, and resilience continue to shape the modern world. Because some days do not simply pass into history, some days redefine it.